Hello friends! I'm here with you today to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is Walt Disney World and Disney in general. And this is actually my first vlog post, so please bear with me. It's probably going to be a little bumpy. So, many adults write off Disney as a travel destination because of those legendary crowds, the stigma for the really high prices, and then the idea that the tourist hub is just for kids. So I'm here today to debunk those popular opinions. Those things can be true, certainly, but there are ways to get around them. So it can be really easy to look at Disney as this theme park universe that's got the corner on every upselling technique known to man. And that's true, they really are good at upselling, but the other truth is, if you know what you want and if you plan smart, you can get a whole lot of amazing for your dollar. So I want to show you how I've found the ways that I found to do that. And also I want to say, as a world travel aficionado without kids, Disney is one of my top 3 locations in the entire world. So there's something special about it, you guys, and I'm going to try to kind of illuminate that in this video. So here's what I love so much about Disney World. Disney is the master of the experience, from immersive ambiance that takes you back to a bygone era, to these amazing imaginative journeys that can wow even the most cynical minds. Disney designs atmosphere like nobody's business. Every lamppost and every door handle is ornately designed to fit into the theme of the area that you're in. And if you've ever been to Disney, you know that they love to theme their resorts, their parks, the different worlds inside the parks. Wherever you go in Disney, there's a theme, whether it's after a place or a time period, or just a particular idea that they want to convey to the guests. If you see my little, hi Minza, this is my little puppy here, she's helping me out, emotional support. One of the coolest ways that Disney can invoke this nostalgic feeling is by using smell. Like if you walk into that ice cream parlor at the end of Main Street, oh, that smell is one of the best smells on earth to me. I love that smell. And then there are a bunch of others too. So for instance, like the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, there will be, while you're standing in line, this distinct smell of like salty sea air. Definitely Disney knows how to use the psychology of smell to kind of suck you in and immerse you and make you feel like you're in a different place or a different time. Another way that Disney masters the art of immersive ambience is their restaurants. And I could do a whole vlog, and I probably will, about just the themed restaurants at Disney. Not to mention the nightly fireworks spectacular at Magic Kingdom, which costs Disney about $50,000 to put on every single night. And that show, right now, currently the show is called Happily Ever After, and it's the best show I've ever seen in all of my decades going to Disney World. It literally makes me cry. I should probably be embarrassed to admit that, but it's just an amazing show, and they don't spare any expense, clearly. So Disney goes to the nines to put on these amazing spectacles, and every single day they do this, and it feels like it's the first day that they've done it. My point here is Disney goes the distance to engage all of your senses and leave you totally in awe. You understand that you're in a constructed environment, but it doesn't even matter. You know, at some point you just sort of let it take you, go along with that mood that they're setting, and just kind of go with the wave, guys. Go with the wave. So, by now you might be wondering, so if Disney is so great, why have I heard so many horror stories about these sweaty crowds and these long lines and these unhappy kids and these parents who are totally broke when they come back from their vacation? My opinion, lack of knowledge and planning. So here's where I'm going to get down to the nitty-gritty and actually help you make your Disney trip a magical one, because that's the point, right? So Hack number 1. This is the most important thing. Number 2, you might think saving money is the most important thing, but this is actually, they go hand in hand. So number 1 thing we're going to talk about is picking the time to go. So slow times technically don't exist at Disney, but you can certainly avoid what I call the crucibles of chaos. And seriously, guys, that's not really an exaggeration. Holidays and summer vacation are crazy, crazy, crazy. Anytime kids are out of school will be busy, but Christmas and summer break are notoriously the most packed. They're like blackout zones. So there are websites dedicated to predicting crowd levels at the parks based on historical data as well as forecasted groups. These websites that help you predict crowds are known as crowd calendars. So if you Google crowd calendar, Disney 2000, whatever year you're going, and the top result that will come up is usually undercover tourist. That is my go-to. That has historically been the most accurate of the crowd calendars. But what I'll do is I'll also kind of compare and contrast different crowd calendars to just check the accuracy and make sure I'm getting a well-balanced view for crowds. So Undercover Tourist is a great resource to check first before you even start to go too far down this road of planning your trip. Undercover Tourist. You can also view the youth sporting group's schedule on Disney property by clicking on ESPN. I think you Google ESPN, Disney's Wide World Sports, something like that, and I'll put a link to that as well. You'll notice the slowest times are usually in September, right after school starts. So, and then key points throughout the winter months, which is great because if you live in the Midwest like I do, winter is the time you want to get away from the cold in your own state and go down to beautiful sunny Florida. So if you don't have kids, or if you do have kids and you're able to take a little break, if you homeschool, you can, make a field trip, go to Epcot, but do check the crowd calendar, I have to say again, because if you go during the winter, at a busy point, like during Christmas or Thanksgiving, then you could be shooting yourself in the foot. Okay, now let's talk about saving money. So, the biggest hurdle is making your trip a financial possibility. I understand this is a big deal for a lot of people, and myself included, so that's kind of why I've compiled all of these tips and tricks, because I want to be able to share the way that I've made the Disney trips a financial possibility for my family. So this is going to get a little complicated, and I will again be putting all these links into the body of this post. So I'm going to start a little slow. Once you've narrowed down your ideal dates based on your own schedule and then the crowd calendars, log on to Disney's website to check dates and properties for pricing. There will almost always be offers available during every season, special rates and discounts. So keep your eyes out for those. If a better special is introduced after you've already put your deposit down and booked your trip, you can call Disney and talk to a vacation specialist, and they will let you know if there's availability still for that special to apply it to your rate. So that's a nice perk. So you can always call them and apply that rate if it's available to your currently booked stay. All right, back to talking about Disney resorts. So Disney resorts are divided into 3 categories. There's the value resorts, the moderate, and then the deluxe. So keep in mind, you may not be spending that much time in your resort, depending on the length of your visit and your plans for each day. But me personally, I go for four nights when I make a Disney trip, and I do 3 days in the parks. So I'm not spending hardly any time in the resort. So it's not a huge emphasis for me to, like, at this point in my life, I probably would not pay for a deluxe resort. That being said, I do like to avoid the crazy crowds and lots of young kids running around. That's just my own personal preference because I don't have kids yet. So my personal favorite resorts are the 2 sister properties, Port Orleans. So those are themed resorts, as you may be able to guess, that are themed to have the vibe of New Orleans. They're neighbor resorts, they're right next to each other, and each one has a different feel while still being themed after New Orleans. So, first one I ever stayed at was Port Orleans French Quarter. So that's made to look like the French Quarter in New Orleans, and they've done a great job with it. It looks really cool. The ambiance there is really cool. They've got a greeter who's all decked out in Mardi Gras attire, and they hand out the beads to your kids, and they've got the moss hanging off the trees just like in New Orleans, and they've got the streets, the cobblestone streets with the really pretty iron lamp posts at night, and it's just a gorgeous ambiance there, and I love it, and you really can't go wrong with that resort. And then on the other hand, we have Port Orleans Riverside Resort, which is now my personal favorite. It's bumped French Quarter out by a hair. It's just beautiful. It's got the river going through right behind the property. It's huge. It's a larger property than French Quarter, but it felt very secluded, which I really liked. So there are lots of trees. It seems to be a pretty quiet resort overall. There is a lot of walking, however, because it's such a big resort. You may need to prepare to have a bit of a walk when you're going to the lobby to get food, or maybe going to your bus depot to hop on a bus to the parks or to Disney Springs. There may be a little bit of walking, and definitely make sure to orient yourself with where your closest bus station is. That's my best advice for that particular resort. That being said, the layout is gorgeous. It's very secluded. It's got all these trees, and then I just love how the buildings look, and the rooms are definitely very decent for the price you're paying. Okay, now you can go cheaper if you want to stay in a value and you think that that's more your speed, you want to save a few extra $100 and stay at a value. You can definitely do that. Just prepare for the fact that you may have longer waits to get on a bus to the parks. Staying at a moderate or a deluxe will give you the leg up there, and it will get you to where you need to be faster, because the bus depots really do make things more streamlined. Once you've settled on a solid date and you've put down your $200 booking deposit to hold that reservation, it's time to work at paying off your trip. So if you don't have an Ebates account, here's where you're going to want to sign up for one. Ebates.com. It is a free, legit cashback site that gets its revenue from affiliate network links. So once logged in as a user, you can access a large number of popular websites like Amazon and Shutterfly via that Ebates website. And then once you make a purchase at these sites, you will automatically get a percentage of your purchase that you made back in check form from Ebates. I know it sounds too good to be true, but I've been using it for 2 years now, and it's really very helpful. I've gotten a lot of money back on purchases that I would have made already. Okay, so now that you have a profile on Ebates and you're logged in, search BJ's Wholesale from the Ebates website, and then it should be a red logo, BJ's Wholesale. So then click on that link to go to the wholesale website. It is a $10 annual membership to join the wholesale site, but that will soon pay for itself many times over, which you will see. Once you're signed up with BJ's, search the site for Disney gift cards. There will be 2 increments that you can choose from. They come in $100 increments and $500 increments. Currently, the way they're priced, you will save more money buying the $100 gift cards versus the $500. But definitely be sure to calculate it for yourself, because that may change. At wholesale rate, you're paying only $96 on each $100 card that you buy. Now, that $4 doesn't sound like a whole lot, but think if you're paying $2,500 for a Disney trip, that is going to be saving you $100 that you can then use for food or souvenirs. Plus, if you access BJ's Wholesale via the Ebates website, you are saving another 2% on the purchase that you make on the BJ's website. So if you're buying, again, the $2,500 worth of gift cards, that's putting another $48 back in your pocket. So at this point, if you've done these two steps, you are saving $148 on a $2,500 Disney vacation, which, you know, it does help. And then keep in mind, you can use these Disney gift cards to pay for anything on your trip. So if you're on Disney property, you're staying there at a resort, you can use it for souvenirs, you can use it for food, you can use it to pay for your stuff you charge back to your room, you can use it towards the room costs, you can, I mean, the possibilities are endless. So you might want to actually buy a little bit extra in gift cards if you plan on paying for things out of pocket while you're on Disney property. Now we come to the subject of saving money on Disney dining. It is true that food prices are pretty high at the parks, and it's absolutely an option to pack, say, PB&J sandwiches with juice boxes to go to the parks and to eat while you're there, instead of paying for food at the parks. My family always did this on our trips to Disney when I was younger. And you know, it worked fine. The sandwiches were a little smushed, but now that I am an adult, I find it a worthwhile splurge to actually book those restaurants and have the experience of eating that fun food that you can smell the whole day while you're walking around. And it's, you know, the stuff is really fun. It's very visually stunning. The food, you have to be careful about. If you're a foodie and you're picky, you definitely will want to delve more into where you can go to find food that is that top tier that you're looking for. Otherwise, if you're okay with hamburgers, hot dogs that are sort of standard park fare, you'll be fine. If you're not super hard to impress, that's not really an issue. So you can just go and have fun trying out these fun menu items that they offer at counter service or table service restaurants. I will say that I don't waste time or money eating breakfast at restaurants while I'm at the parks. So this is the time of day where you're going to want to squeeze in as many rides or character visits as possible, because the parks aren't busy usually in the morning. That's because usually in the morning is when the parks are the least busy of the whole day. So my advice is definitely don't waste time getting food for breakfast at the parks. What I will always do is pack cereal or granola bars or something sort of breakfasty in my luggage when I come to Disney, with the intent of using that as my breakfast for each day, and then I will book like a midday lunch reservation, because by that time I'm usually ready to come in from the crowds and the heat and just take a little break anyway, and then that's a great time to have lunch and sort of reset and eat some food and feel better before I go back out and try to tackle more stuff. And there's no need to pay for $3 bottled waters to stay hydrated during the day, because you can actually get free refills of water if you bring your own bottle. Plastic or metal bottles, no glass bottles are allowed in the parks, but definitely bring your own bottle, stick it in your bag, and just refill it whenever you need to. Don't waste the money on tons of bottled waters every time you get thirsty. Okay, and then Memory Maker. So Disney packages offer an option called Memory Maker, which is photographs that are taken throughout your stay and during your visits to the parks. So there are photographers at various stations throughout the Disney parks and even at Disney Springs that will take a photo of you in specific locations, and then they will scan your Magic Band, which is the bracelet that you're given before you visit the park. And that bracelet has all your information on it, and it acts as a, it can have your credit card attached to it, so you can just scan it when you want to pay for things. It acts as your room key and as an identity confirmer. So all of the stuff that you need for payments, for getting into your room, is all localized right there on that little handy band, and it makes the whole experience really, really simple and streamlined, because you don't have to carry a whole bunch of things around the parks or when you're out and about. You can just use that Magic Band. So at these PhotoPass locations, where the photographer will take your picture, at the end they'll scan your Magic Band, and because it has your reservation and ID on it, those photos that they just took will go directly to your app. If you've got your app linked to your Magic Band, it will go directly to your reservation, your profile on the Disney Experience app. So that's a really cool option. However, it is $160 if you want to prepay for that memory maker to get your photos that are taken during your vacation. The price does go up if you decide to pay for it while you're on your trip, but $160 can sometimes be a little steep. So here's a way to get around that. If you don't want to pay for the $160, you can bring your own camera or your phone, whatever you prefer, and you can ask those Disney PhotoPass photographers to snap a photo for you with your own camera or phone at those locations where they are. They will do that for you for free. That's fine. They won't ask any questions. They'll just do it for you, and that way you can have the photo on your own phone or on your camera, and you don't have to pay the $160 for the photo, the memory maker. So that's an option. However, do note that the quality may not be the same. So PhotoPass photographers can take some really fun shots, and they do have flash. And then they also do the fun little thing where they'll add in the occasional character to your photo to make it look like you're hanging out with the characters. But if that's not something that you want to budget for, there's always the option to have them take a photo for you with your own camera or phone. Transportation, that is another classic, very expensive thing when it comes to travel. So getting around. Here's the great thing. This is one of my favorite things about planning a Disney vacation, is that I don't have to worry about trying to figure out how I'm going to get around. Because if you've booked a stay at a Disney resort on property, the transportation to and from MCO, Orlando Airport, is included, and it's called their Magical Express, and it's a bus that will pick you up right from the airport, just down one level from the terminal. You go down there, you bring your luggage, and they will take you straight to your resort and drop you off, and then cast members will actually take your luggage to your room for you, so you don't even have to worry about wrangling that once you get there. It is a great perk. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. So, oh, by the way, the whole trip in this bus, they'll be playing a video for you, either classic Mickey Mouse cartoons or an informational video about how to get the most out of your Disney trip. So it's very entertaining, of course. I mean, Disney never has you sit somewhere and not entertain you. They're the best at that. That's their business. So it's a very fun ride, and it's kind of getting you pumped for your trip. I know I personally was totally giddy the whole way riding the Magical Express. It can be around an hour of a trip, just because they do make multiple stops at resorts. So just be prepared for that, but there's not going to be a boring moment on the bus. So that enables you to not have to worry about a rental car or parking fees, which they do now have fees for parking at the resorts, including the parks. And parking at the parks is currently $20 a day. So that does add up very quickly, but if you're booking at a Disney resort and you're coming into MCO, you can just skip all of that mess and not have to worry about paying for those extras. Just take advantage of that free Magical Express transportation service, and you are good to go. Okay, here's hack number 3. This is my favorite to talk about because this is where we really get down to the good stuff. So this is avoiding the crowds. How to avoid the crowds and get the most out of your time at Disney. So Disney offers a complimentary time-saving option with every park ticket. Some people don't realize that this doesn't cost them extra money. This is included with your park ticket. It's called FastPass. The online option of FastPass allows you to select a ride in a time slot to basically shortcut the regular standby line. And FastPass lines are rarely longer than 5 minutes. For regular park tickets, you can select the rides of your choice and the time frames 30 days before your visit. Now here's another perk if you're staying on Disney property. Can you tell that I'm a big advocate of staying on Disney property? So if you're staying on Disney property in a resort, you can actually pick your FastPass 60 days prior to your start date of your visit. So that gives you a real leg up on the competition because you are grabbing those spots and those rides before regular park guests do. So don't miss out on this free hack. Mark your calendar for the earliest day you can pick your fast passes and log on to the Disney website at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and those options will be available for you starting at 6 a.m. Every time I book a Disney reservation, you guys, I put this in my calendar and I set my alarm for 5:30 and I get my laptop all started up and I pull up all the tabs for the top rides that I want to get, and at 6 a.m. I do my best to get all of the ones that are difficult and traditionally have long wait lines. So I'll do another blog post probably in the near future on the top rides to get fast passes for, to avoid those sometimes up to 3-hour wait times. Okay, here's the fun part. Now you've done all the legwork to plan and save for your trip, and the day has arrived to immerse yourself in the magic. So the best tip I can give you for any Disney goer out there at any time of the year, get up and get going early. And I know this is tricky if you have little ones, but set the alarm for, I don't know, 2 hours early. If it takes you 2 hours to get out the door, set that alarm for 4 a.m., guys. Just do it. You will not regret it. And you can always come back to the hotel in the middle of the day and take a nap. It's definitely worth it for all of the rides and the experiences that you can get in within a short amount of time if you just get there early. So as I said before, the morning is when the parks are always the slowest. The masses don't get moving until the late morning, so arriving at the park early is going to be your secret weapon. Rope drop is the time of morning when a park officially opens to the public. At Magic Kingdom, the large ropes that section off each different zone of the park are dropped to allow guests inside. You are allowed inside the park as early as 1 hour before the park actually opens to the public. You are only allowed on Main Street and those shops in that area all the way up to the hub in front of Cinderella Castle. So during this time, you can grab pastries, you can get photos before the crowds fill up that Main Street area, you can get some fun souvenirs, and don't forget to stop and breathe in that nostalgic air because you're definitely going to want to remember that. Just soak in that smell, guys. Before rope drop, groups will start to form in front of those zones to each different part of the park. And once rope drop hits, then those ropes will be backed up to allow the guests to come into that zone. If you are towards the front of that group, you will most likely have the chance to walk onto a couple of rides with no waiting. This is your chance to knock out those must-ride attractions that tend to have really long wait times. Now, occasionally everyone will have the same idea for a ride, and this plan can backfire. So, take for instance the Flight of Passage ride in Animal Kingdom. When I went in April, this past April, no fast passes were available at the time that I was going to be at Animal Kingdom. So what I decided to do was go straight to that ride at Rope Drop. So wait times, understanding that wait times had been at about 3 hours, sometimes more for this particular ride over the last several weeks that I'd been keeping an eye on it. So I was like, I don't know if I'm willing to waste that much of a park day to ride this new ride. So my friend and I decided to get to the park at Rope Drop and head straight to Pandora to see if we could get on the ride that way. Even getting to the park an hour before Rope Drop, the crowds were lined up as far as we could even see into the park. Once Rope Drop hit, the entire mass of people moved towards Pandora because clearly they all had the same idea to ride Flight of Passage. So checking our app, the forecasted wait time for the ride was already at 140 minutes as soon as the park opened. I don't even know how that happens. We couldn't even get into the Pandora section of the park because the crowd was standstill. I mean, we were packed like cattle. So at that point, we decided to cut our losses and go do some other activities in the park that everybody else seemed to be ignoring. So that day, actually, we got so much done because we were willing to just go with the flow and go do our next things on our list while everybody else was kind of set on this Pandora ride. So that day actually went really smoothly. We didn't get to do the Avatar ride until the day later, but it worked out fine. So, moral of the story is go with the flow. If there's a really long wait time and you're not sure you're willing to spend that much time, just move on to the next thing. Here's another perk for resort guests. Yes, another one. Guests who are staying at a Disney property get the option of extra magic hours. So each day of the week, there is a specific park that will open early or stay open late. And this is specifically for hotel guests only. So regular park guests still have to leave at the regular time, but then, you know, say Magic Kingdom will be open an extra 2 hours at night. So all the other guests are leaving, and resort guests get to stay a little later or come in an hour early. This is especially helpful with early opening times because obviously parks are the slowest in the morning again. And with extra magic hours, they're double slow because, I mean, sometimes it's like 7 or 8 a.m. that the park opens, and people are not wanting to get up on their vacation that early to get going and go to the parks. Except me, I love to do that. That's fun because the parks are super magical in the morning. It's amazing to be there early in the morning because you feel like you've got the place to yourself. It's quiet. You can still hear the birds singing. The sun is just kind of glowing this nice gentle gold color over everything. It's really very, very cool to be there early. And some of the best photos I've ever gotten at the parks have been during those early opening times. Now that being said, if a specific park is offering magic hours, extra magic hours, that park is going to be really busy for the rest of that day. So what I recommend is if you want to do the extra magic hours, do that, but then in the middle of the day, go to a different park to avoid those extra magic hour crowds. All right. Okay, ordering food. Sometimes the lines for food at the parks can be even longer than the ride lines. It's a real thing. So if you're lucky enough to score an advanced dining reservation at one of Disney's table service restaurants, this won't really apply to you because you're going to get a sit-down table and you're going to order that way anyway. But if you are using counter service or quick service, here is a sneaky secret. You can go onto your My Disney Experience app and click Order Food, and any of the locations that will allow you to mobile order, which is most of the quick service locations, you just click what you want to order, and then you walk into the mobile order pickup location, and you just grab your food when it's ready. And so you don't even have to stand in that line, which can sometimes be, you know, up to an hour just to get a hot dog or a cinnamon roll. But you can skip all of that by just using the My Disney Experience app and mobile ordering your food. You're welcome. We're getting to the end of our list here. Hack number 4, the magic. Yes. So you're at Disney. Smile and be happy. It really adds to the magic when you look around you and you see other people smiling and having fun and, you know, helping each other or being kind to each other or, you know, doing something special for a little one to make their day even better. On the other hand, it really dampens the mood when you see somebody yelling at their husband or their child, or you see, you know, somebody cutting in line or just being a miserable human being, or complaining to the cast member at the restaurant because they didn't get their food as quickly as they wanted. I mean, look, people, just pull it together, go with the flow, relax, and be kind. You are at Disney World. Another park day game changer is Disney bounding. So this is the term for theming your outfit after a Disney character. It's gaining popularity with diehard WDW fans, and of course the parks have strict rules when it comes to adults in character costumes. While children are permitted and encouraged to dress up, adults are not allowed to walk into the park with, say, a full-length Cinderella gown, much to my sadness. If you are dressed in a style that's too exactly like any of the Disney characters, Disney may deny you entrance into the park until you change. So here's where Disney bounding comes in. My friends and I will go to great lengths putting together ensembles to look like our favorite characters. Usually we go with like a flattering 1950s style dress and petticoat because it's comfortable, it's movable, and it just looks so classic. Disney has Dapper Days where guests are encouraged to dress in this vintage style, but of course Disney doesn't discourage people dressing in that style any day of the year. So that's most certainly allowed. And I've Disney bounded for the last 2 years as multiple characters, and I've never had a problem getting into the parks. The one thing I will say is that a few of our costumes have looked so spot on that we've been asked by cast members not to sign autographs. And this is understandable because they have specific ways that each character has been trained to sign the autograph, so that no matter what decade you come to Disney, the signatures that you get in your book are always the same for each character. So I definitely understand, you know, not being asked not to sign autographs. We have been asked to take lots of pictures with park guests, and that's super fun, you know, when there's kids that are just looking at you like, oh my gosh, I saw my favorite character and I didn't even have to wait in line. It's pretty awesome. It's a good feeling. So, most of the time our outfits are very recognizable to guests. And Disney cast members alike, and people get such a kick out of seeing our outfits. I'm a member of a Disney group on Facebook, and I posted some photos of one of our Disney bounding trips, my friend and I, and several people in the group commented, oh hey, we saw you the other day, you guys looked amazing. So it's just cool to be able to, you know, people see you and they remember that because it's so cool and out of the ordinary. We've even been offered extra fast passes by cast members who really liked our get-ups. So it adds so much fun to the experience, you know. It's a fun way to step outside of your ordinary wardrobe, to see the looks of excitement on other people's faces. It really makes the whole experience, in my opinion. Another special bit of magic to note, Disney will celebrate absolutely any occasion with you, and they offer free buttons pretty much anywhere to help you do so. So take advantage of this, whether you're celebrating an anniversary or paying off a loan or having a new baby or getting clean. A cast member will make you a pin to commemorate whatever you're celebrating, and if you put that pin somewhere visible on you, like your bag, your backpack, your outfit, cast members will congratulate you or get excited with you all day about that thing. So definitely worth grabbing a pin and celebrating while you're celebrating. So I think that's about it for this vlog, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this is helpful for you. If you have any questions about any details I mentioned or something that I didn't mention, please comment and let me know, and I'll cover those in the next vlog post that I do. I look forward to doing more of these because I could talk about Disney, honestly, for days and never take a break. I would love it. So please give me more material to work with so I can keep doing these. And thanks again for watching, guys. Bye!